We'll start with you with this question. This is for any high schoolers or other young voters new to town politics. Why should we vote for two of you? What are your policies in the simplest, clearest terms?
Regarding high school students, I'm very in favor of high school students.
I think
I have
all
one
students
myself.
once, yeah.
So my policies are listening. My policies are community service in terms of this job. My policy is objectivity, analysis, careful thought, and professionalism. I think one thing that's really important to remember in terms of who you're choosing to vote for is that we can all have a platform, we can all have priorities, and we should, and they inform our voters to a certain extent. But at the end of the day, you don't know, and I don't know, none of us knows what issues we'll be facing, not all of them. 5 years ago, I don't think any of us knew that who we were voting for would be handling COVID. So what we need, in my opinion, to focus on is what is the intent and how does somebody manage disagreement? How does somebody approach problem solving? Do they make room for everyone at the table? And that's the type of policy that I think, those are the type of values that I think good policy stems from. Thank you.
Okay. Cindy, same question.
Okay, great, thank you. So the way the town government works in Littleton is that we are governed by policies that we adopt and that are approved by the voters of Littleton. So I can have my personal policies as a member of the select board, but I'm really governed by the town's policies. They cover financial decisions, they cover planning decisions, and they cover health decisions. Those would be, clearly governed by the Finance Committee and FinCom, the Planning Board, and the Board of Health. The Select Board is governed by administrative policies and procedures, as well as administrative policies and procedures for the town administrator and general legislation. So any decisions that the Select Board make should be tied to a policy that's already been established, or if there's a decision that comes before us, then we need to create a policy to resolve that issue. So as far as my personal policies, I'm very policy-driven. Like I mentioned, I've been a paralegal for 30 years. Anyone who served with me on the board will say that I'm the first one to dive into an issue, do the research, do my homework, get the backstory, and just get the supporting documentation. That's just the way I work in general. So that's pretty much the way I operate and the way I would approach any situation that comes before me as a member of the board. I hope that answered the question. Thank you.
Okay, Matthew.
For any young voters out there, I think what I wish for you is that you understand what is going on in town government, that you get involved in town government, and that the values of the town government reflect your values. So on the first point, I ran on transparency 3 years ago, and I firmly believe that having a transparent approach to everything is absolutely crucial because everyone needs to know what is going on in town government and needs to be able to understand it. And I do believe that if we had that sort of open and easily accessible information, more people would want to get involved. And I would really like it if young voters would get involved. I also believe I'm quite good at listening and comparing both sides of an argument and not being prejudiced or prejudging things. I think that everybody who comes into the select board or onto a town committee wants to feel enfranchised and listened to make sure that their voice is heard. And that's also crucial for getting people into town government. Finally, I believe that we have a duty to follow sustainable policies, sustainability and conservation, because we are custodians of this place and we are going to hand it off to the next generation. I have been a big advocate of conserving land. I have been trying to spin the wheels up on some sustainability. And I think that those values are more important to the next generation. They should be more important to us, but they're clearly more important to the next generation because they're going to have to live in that world. Thank you.